that we can do that because, united we stand, divided we fall. And we want to unite for the better cause and the better good for everything that we do and what we believe in. So with that, I just recently met Nick, and, we've been corresponding back and forth, and I will say one more thing about Nick. There are many programs that are DeFi programs or, all these RI programs that are out there. And guys, you don't know who the owners are. You don't know who's behind the scenes. You have no idea. A lot of them are just actors for hire. A lot of them are just a picture saying this is our CEO, which really it isn't, right? Nick is here in flesh and blood right here with us today. He wouldn't have to do that. He really doesn't have to do that, right? So, but he is here and he wants to address the questions. He wants to address the issues. So without further ado, Nick, our lead developer and founder of Veritas Vault, I turn over the mic and the floor to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Steve. I really appreciate that, particularly the prayer part, because it's been hairy. I've got my whole life. This is my baby. And you're right, I don't have to show myself, but a lot of people wanted me to, and it's exposed me to, the emails and some complaints here and there, but we can take it. We can take it, guys. And as a matter of fact, this is literally our 7th day. Okay. The token launched at 38 cents. It's almost hitting $1 right now. It's what at 94, yeah, almost 95 cents. And that's a good launch. And I'm going to show you some charts and address some of the issues that people have brought up about some of these scanners that go out there and rate, different programs. But to start off with, I'm extraordinarily thankful, all right, that we've been as far as we've gotten since Tuesday. And as you all know, we had some challenges early on. The interest has been phenomenal. I mean, we've got 768 stakeholders right now, all right, which is huge, huge. I mean, we started out with 200, just a short 7 days ago. And granted, the issues with the programming and the logic and the integration with mainnet and so on and so forth have been challenging. But I assure you guys, since Thursday, when they really came to the forefront of my attention, I mean, I have really skipped and jumped for you guys, okay, and shelling out money and, making sure everybody's on board and, the good news, many of you may not know this, but early on I told you that we had a company called Savernic that is our audit company. And that team, as a matter of fact, today, I think I'm going to have them write up a little resume for you because I don't really recall some of the huge, 500, what is it, Fortune 500 companies that these guys have worked for and been project managers for in the U.S. But we have an enormous team, okay, that have faith in the project. I have personally faith and friendship in them. This weekend, from Friday, which was actually a holiday where they live, they've been going around the clock just to get us to where we are today. So from the early reports, a lot of these issues that I've been getting emails about regarding, staking, buying token, seeing their rewards, seeing the proper content on the site have been resolved, which I'm super grateful for. And in about, probably about 3 hours, I've got to catch up with them again to go over some of the other issues, right? That aren't really like huge issues, but regarding seeing your 8-hour rewards and making some tweaks to the site. I know a lot of people have brought up the fact that they want to be able to sell from the site instead of having to go to PancakeSwap. So believe me, this is top of my radar, and you guys are precious to me. And I especially want to say that the people that did send in emails, I did see them. Okay, usually what I'll do is between everything else, I'll click it. And I'll kind of click through and say, okay, what's this issue? What's that issue? Okay, this is on this device, so on and so forth. But I might not have the opportunity or the time on such a tight schedule to actually get there and, address it individually. Not because I don't want to, because again, it's been quite an inundation. But you guys mean the world to me. We're in this together. We may not know each other, but we're connected through the project. And that was the whole reason, for the name, if I haven't mentioned this previously, is Veritas means truth. Okay. The previous projects that I thoroughly analyzed for like a couple months before I even thought about putting hand to code. weren't doing that, you know. I mean, I'm not being critical, but you don't know who they are. The interfaces, weren't user friendly. There was no like unified like front on communicating the idea, supporting the idea, or anything like that. But yet, and still, they're at 2 point something billion market cap. They got 300 million in the bank. They're trading 30, 40 million sometimes per day. So we will get there, guys. Okay. All I'm asking for is your patience. Like I said, I do everything, if not directly, through my remarkable team. Okay, I'm very close friends of over 20 years who are experts in this particular unique field. Things have been great, and we do have the super advantage of most of you on here are like very seasoned, very skilled, very, successful network marketers. And that is huge. I mean, right now, like I said, we jumped about 550 people in 7 days. And all indications I'm getting from the field are that we could get to 1,000 per day plus. And that's really what we want to do. But we've got to do it stable, right? So I know this might sound passe, but I am committed, right? And I know that word is overused, but I'm working 16-hour days for you guys, and plus, when I need be. But even though as time goes on, you'll get to know me better. You'll get to know my spirit and who I am, and also to deliver, okay, on the promises of the project. Complete transparency, a real DAO, where shortly you guys will be able to vote on some of the bigger, more advanced options that we're doing with no cost to you, just by staking the token. And screenshots and things like that you can get to me are super helpful. So if you're on an Apple device or a mobile device or anything like that, definitely get that to me, because I can only test so many devices personally. So any help there, like I said, it's huge, huge. And yeah, so I know there's probably some questions out there. For some of you, I did respond via email yesterday. Where we're at looks, like I said, really good. And, the comments specifically, I've copied over into like a to-do list for today. So now that we've got the new project double checked, and one of the advantages here is that having an actual audit company with very extremely seasoned and professional programmers picking up the slack from last week, we caught some things that aren't even visible to you that could be mission critical. So I'm very proud of their work. Today we've got a pretty hardcore meeting of the most urgent issues I want to address, some of the cosmetic issues that we're going to address. And then the further plan is to get all of the contracts fully audited again, fully integrated and working, like a well-oiled machine. So as Dr. Steve mentioned, that process is underway, and just be patient. You're not losing money. Okay, don't look at it like that. You are definitely not losing money right now. But yeah, this isn't financial advice, but guys, the future looks so bright. It's I get goosebumps sometimes, even through the pressure and some of the pain, but we're gonna be fine. So I think what I'm going to start out with, guys, is let me share my screen if I have ability to do that, Doctor.
You do. Yeah. Yeah, your co-host.
All right, let me do my whole window. Do it like that. Just make this full screen for you guys. So here's the site dashboard. Everybody's familiar with that. So here's what I'm saying.
Yeah, Nick,
Can
we're
you
not
see
seeing
it?
screen. No.
Okay, my bad.
All right, it's coming up
Okay.
now. Okay, now we can see it.
All right, wonderful. Okay, so here's your dashboard. As long as you're connected to your wallet, it auto brings you here. Again, the data points. I mean, sometimes, and I want to bring the item up because I know how huge this is for you. In normal circumstances, your average user is not going to be aware of this, but I know it's important to you. I'm signed into the DAO position, which is obviously at the top of the unit level. And this is the wallet address, but it's showing me as the sponsor, right? Which when we were creating it was actually the default. Okay. So I'm not sure this is, matter of fact, I know this isn't working the way it should. But if you see this wallet address, it doesn't mean necessarily that the DAO is the sponsor. It's as a placeholder. So I've got to connect that data point. So please, nobody worry about that. And if there were something where someone, joined and staked and they didn't use your link right, we can, as we move forward, we can get more minute and specific on your specific issues, which we're open to. Okay. And there's ways that you can move them around. I mean, not move them physically, but have them set up another wallet and move their staking over. So very little pain point, even if there is a mistake. So don't worry about this. That's on the list for today. But basically it shows you staking, everything's appearing right. These are all the transactions associated, down the unit level for my specific position, which is huge. So you kind of know, where your rewards are coming from. Happy about that. I've already tested out buys and the feedback I've gotten in the last 12 hours is that this is good. So you can simply come here, click max, auto calculates, and then swap tokens. And sometimes when you're so into something, you, you neglect the obvious, right? So the further plan was to be able to click this and have it reverse so that you could sell VBA to DAI, which I know a lot of you want to do. But we'll have that operational as soon as possible, like maybe in a day or two, depending on the depth of where the programming is and things like that. But I don't imagine that to be difficult. Okay, so that's coming very soon. Let's see, stake. Okay. So again, content showing. Now, I know a lot of you have brought up the fact that this claim button is not working for you. If you have staked within the last, 24 hours or under, it won't work for you. But after 24 hours, it should. And, I mean, I personally haven't had a problem. I know some people have, and that's why I stress if there's a device issue to, at least notify me of what device you're on, because there might be some things that just aren't, popping through right for you. But this is working. And just anybody that's on this Zoom call, if you have a balance, right, particularly for the founders, right, which has been 7 days, okay, since we inputted it, there should be no issue here. Now, I'm not saying, and in this business, it's hard. People are like, oh, it's working for me. Why isn't it working for you? I'm not taking that stance with you. But if you have a balance here that's over 24 hours and you are clicking claim, and it is not moving from this line to this line, all right, drop me a really short note with your wallet address and the device you're on. You don't have to go through specifics, but let me know because I want to move forward from this, and I really genuinely understand how anxious you are to get those founders tokens, earning for you. So that's one issue I want to point out, and also the unstaking as well. So if you do have a balance here and you wish to switch from the stake VBA over to the actual VBA that you can then, cash out or, restake or transfer to another person that might have an issue with buying, that's available and that should be working like a charm for you. Okay, so moving on here with the bonds. I've tested this many times on many accounts. So right now we're only offering the DAI VBA pair until we can get the treasury configured for USDT, which is just for convenience, right? I said that the discounts are the same. So, but those are off for the moment. And like I said, it's working for me. So if you try to do a bond today, you don't have to buy a big bond, just 500, maybe, a little over 500 or more. And you do run into an issue with that working or not working, just let me know. And if it is working, like I said, drop me a line and say, it's finally working for me. And again, we have some cleanup. This is just a path to a graphic, so no big deal there, but that'll get squared today for sure. And for my active bonds, I do have claimable amounts, right? So we know it's releasing every 24 hours. So if you buy a 5-day bond, 20% the first 24 hours, 20% the next 24 hours, so on and so forth. So that I tested that is working. Referral rewards, we do have some work to do on this page here that I won't really get into, but that's all coming. And also your genealogy view. I was kind of the view that we have is not the view that I want. I've been in this business for 26 years, right? And most of the guys on this team have known me for 20 of those. I mean, they were actually the ones that kind of brought me into this industry. And I can do some beautiful things with your genealogy view. Okay. So the plan is to have it where it's clickable and you can actually see all the wallet addresses, not just a bunch of wallet addresses listed in line. That's something huge, but that's also something kind of cosmetic. So against everything else, that'll be coming soon, and it'll be amazing. Okay. And when I first created it, and then when I started sharing it, right, with my friends and the people I trust, they were so excited that we got off to a kickstart in July. So the programming length, and I financed that all myself, right? But we went so fast, and then with the founders, right? So what you're seeing here is genuinely an improved version of the project that we are somewhat modeled after. But now we get into the good stuff. Now we can, make things look better, operate better, better comprehension, because I know people when they come here, even if they have a stake balance from their founders, it says staked. So they think that means they're staked. So the 24-hour thing is huge. Okay. And like I said, if you guys can dig into that, that'd be awesome. So these are some of the basics with the site. I don't want to do a full demo here at the moment because I've got that video from Saturday. But just believe me, guys, we will get there ASAP. Okay. Moving on, I wanted to share this, which we don't talk about a lot, but I want to today. So this is our deck screener link. So essentially to get there, if no one personally shares it with you, you type in deckscreener.com/BSC, which is the chain we're on, and then you enter our VBA wallet address. It's just that simple. And that's permanent for the life of the project. And I would suggest you bookmark that because it's been kind of exciting for me. I mean, just since we went on the phone, we're up another penny, almost a penny and a half. And that's probably because of this trade here. Someone just made a buy 13 minutes ago for 4,500. So that of course affects things. So we were right there, and it's not just us, the overall DeFi community is seeing us as well. I can just tell by the trading volume, like $2, this is probably internal. $90, $43. I mean, you guys play in a bigger pond than that. So that's telling me we're picking up a little traction. And I couldn't be more happy with the trajectory. A very close friend on this call told me, you've got to go slow to go fast. And that is precisely what trajectory we're on. So we started down here, 38 cents. It's been 7 days, nice and mellow. Nothing crazy. And for those of you that have been in this, DeFi space for a while, on a launch, it's usually right. So this is a beautiful. I mean, this is a chart to drink for. So I hope you guys recognize that. Again, I will figure out a more convenient and just click button way to be able to sell the token, which I don't mind. I don't want anybody dumping, obviously, but. And it might not even be practical for you, the way we're going. We're more than doubled in a couple of days. But I want to make that, available, okay, in a very easy way instead of, because we've obviously had some sales. I mean, they've been tiny, but it's doable. It's doable. So showing you that, and something that's come up quite a bit that I have never addressed other than on this call is if you scroll down, okay, and by the way, let me just hit these. 3.6 million market cap, guys. Okay. 790,000 in liquidity. That's pretty doggone good. Pretty good. But again, not financial advice. Okay. So if you scroll directly down on the right-hand side, you're going to see token sniffer, right? We're not really rating there. And honeypot, which is the one I want to personally address because that's been the one that's been most concerning for most folks. Now, these are their primary warnings, okay? I'm going to go through each one of these to kind of just give you an idea, like a technical perspective of why it looks like this. And then I'm also going to compare it to the other token, right, that we're somewhat modeled after. Now, sale tax, okay? The reason this is popping up is because I was genuinely concerned for the health. I'm always genuinely concerned for the health of the project. But uh, uh, the possibility early on was that we might get sniped, okay, with bots or by competitors or by jealous organizations, all right? So I didn't want to allow people to be able to like dump token, right? Like day one. That's why it very often, if it's a meme coin or something else, it'll just fly, right? And you would think that that initial purchasing was tied to the community that built it, which is what ours is. That's why it's going so sweet. But what happens is you have people that have spare cash that are plugged into the blockchain, typically through another smart contract, and it hits automatically like, okay, this token just hit, here's the price, and they're programmed to buy and to actually track all that. Very sophisticated stuff. And we're talking global. I mean, somebody in their basement in Prague or somebody, can do that. So I wanted to be able to have a couple of throttles, okay, for emergencies, right? So if too much token was bought or too much token was sold, we automatically increase the tax from 5% to another 15%, which makes that as a loss for that particular sniper. Now, I'm going to reevaluate that week, whether I throttle it down, because right now, one VBA is almost worth $1, which is huge, right? So I need to throttle that a little bit, but that's all that is. And we did that for safety only. And David and the people that know on the back end can attest to the reasons why and the game plan, because I wanted to just make sure we get through the first 10 days, right? So you guys, don't lose out. Everything stays stable. So that's what that is. So this is going to go away. All right. Open source. Okay. Now, when you load a smart contract on the Binance Smart Chain and you go to BSC scan, there's a little button that says it's a little check mark. It's green or it's empty. Now, in order for it to check green, all we have to do on our end is upload the contract. I mean, the contract's uploaded, but there's a difference between uploaded and validated. So the process to validate it is simply us uploading the actual script. And when we do that, it can be copied. Okay. Not perfectly, but they'll know. I mean, you'll see for anybody who knows this, they'll see every line, how we're doing the tax, how we're doing the gas fees, what our unilevel is and the Diamond League and, everything. You see everything there. So I instructed the programmer initially. I said, okay, well, first couple of days, we're not going to do that because I'm also looking at another full audit. So I want that code to be perfect when we do that. And also just for general protection. Like if let's say, hypothetically, that there was an issue in the code that could be exploited. Okay. I didn't want to make it easy for them. I didn't want to have them be able to download it and just have it run it even through AI and be like, okay, what are the vulnerabilities in this contract? Da, 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 da. So this will be corrected as well. Like I said, I'm trying to get us to the mountaintop here. And then after that, I don't really care because we'll have our own brand. Things should remain super dynamic with the growth. The token's already out there and stable and traded, which is healthy, coming in and coming out. So that'll get taken care of. Honeypot, okay. Since launch, and particularly with all the changes we're making, or additions or corrections, how are you going to do that? I haven't been able to construct the treasury the way that it will eventually be. So all of the tokens for the treasury are in one wallet right now. The way and that's what they check as like a honeypot, right? So, for rug pulls and all that. And again, I'm being super transparent. I stand behind everything I say, whether or not you get that right now or not. But again, the purpose for that is we've only been open for a week. And to do it right, And for those who are familiar with the tokenomics, and I can make those made available to you through the team, is I have to like literally manually create a multi-sig wallet or a secured wallet and then move those allocated tokens to each of those individual tokenomics areas. So we have the four primary, which is, public sale and, marketing and treasury and something else. I think it was strategic partners. And then underneath that, when you do see the tokenomics, if you're interested, there's subcategories. So again, I just with the whirlwind, and that's a very tedious process, guys. And even if I did that, I would personally still have access to it. You got to see that, right? So just because you segment the treasury funds or what's coming in pools does not mean that I don't have access to it. Okay, so this is just something to kind of makes people feel good. But what my intention is, once we get a little bit further, we've got a really strong advisory board, that goes without saying. I want to set it up so that that they have access. And I haven't identified these people because that's a lot of trust and that's a lot of control. So when we get to the point where the DAO is like, fully functioning, along the railroad, it'll be my vote, John Doe's vote, Jane Doe's vote, Mike Johnson's vote, or whatever. There might even be Mike Johnson on this call, hilariously. Let's say Dr. Steve or whoever, like I said, doesn't matter. These people have to be super expert in copying their 12 words, keeping that secure, having a secure server environment, and that I can't move that money or they can't move that money unless everybody on that list on the multi-sig votes. Or not really votes, but approves. So right now, when you get a pop-up in Metamask and it says confirm the transaction, when you set it up in that kind of environment, they click it, then someone else has to click it, someone else has to click it, and then it executes that command, either token or die or whatever that might be. And again, that is a permanent thing. Okay. So again, we're just 7 days in. So again, if you got to trust who you work with. I mean, well, you just have to. So I hope you guys do. And you see my face. I'm not just some guy, with I don't know, a hoodie on, somewhere. So I hope that means something to you. So that kind of explains that piece. And I hope I'm not rambling here, guys, but the proxy contract, another important point. That is not a bad thing, particularly, and it's not even unusual for a new contract. Like the issues that we've been seeing with stuff not showing right and having the audit company in there and identifying other issues, that might, break it, but, depending on how much volume we have going through. We couldn't fix that if the proxy contract wasn't there, guys. Okay. I mean, I would literally have to shut everything down and then create a new project and then load it up. And nobody wants to sit around for another week or 2 weeks or whatever. So the proxy contract, all it is, and the way I look at it is kind of like a wrapper, right? You have the primary contract and then the proxy contract around it, which allows you to kind of get in there and tweak things and do this and do that until everything is stable. And I've stated this even during the founders launch and beyond. That is the goal, right? I want this thing like a Ferrari, right? So that it's working properly. Everybody's, regardless of device, is working smooth and everything else. So this, if you are in the industry, is a necessity. All right. I have never launched one without it. Most people don't as well. But when we get to the point where there's no issues and everything's fine, I have no issue with renouncing it, as some of you would say, or locking the contract so that it can't be edited again. But again, it is super important to have this in place. I can't express to you how huge. So anyway, this is us. Maybe that gives you a little bit of ammunition for some of the people you're inviting or talking to. But let me compare that to Origin, okay, which is the project, again, it was initially modeled on, but we have done a dynamic job with improvements, just in functionality and with the rewards plans and and ease of use, and also the marketing that's going to be coming your way probably within another 24 hours. But anyway, here's their chart. Okay, so I won't get into that, but if I come down here, okay, for some reason they don't have honeypot here, but let's just go to Go plus security. All right. So again, they've got their own issues, right? So their Mintable contract is it's looking okay. But there's some kind of wording here. I don't know what it is. Tax is modifiable, okay, which is something else that we have. But that again will be shut down. It's just a way for me to throttle in case there's an extreme emergency. And they've got, two issues here. So this is not uncommon. And this project, hidden owner, has suspicious functions. That's huge, right? That's huge. But again, I'm not comparing us, and I'm not being critical of them. I respect anybody that does this work. Okay. But the moral of the story is they've been out for 18 months, right? And they got 4 issues just like we, us, 2 issues here. So again, my intention is to get us where we want to be as quickly as possible, as safely as possible, most importantly, and as comfortably as possible for the long-term trajectory. And that is to start improving our ecosystem with other potential products, services, things that can improve the value of the token outside of just what we're currently doing now, which is simply staking and bonding and trading and the lottery and all that other wonderfulness. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. And like I said, just in a couple of minutes. I mean, we're strong, guys. We're super strong. I can apologize, but I'd rather just do it. Okay. And you've got to look at things from my point too. Would I like to have everything perfect, by the time you guys wake in the morning? Yes. But I'm working with like 4-5 people. Okay. And it's challenging. So if someone says, is it going to be ready tomorrow? My instinct is to say yes, but I'm dependent on, my team. Okay. Which again is strong. And which again, I'll give you actually a resume. Okay. So you can really see, how incredible this team is. And I'm over thrilled that they worked around the clock all weekend for us on a holiday weekend, no less. So anyway, I hope that makes things clear. If you want to, moderate a couple of questions, maybe that I might not have covered. And guys, like I said, be cool.
All right,
Be
so
cool.
Does Steve maybe
Dr.
stop the
Steve,
recording?
what's up?
yep, let me stop things, I think.